If we show emotion, we're called dramatic. If we want to play against men, we're nuts. And if we dream of equal opportunity, delusional. When we stand for something, we're unhinged.
It's super, it's gonna need to calm down.
When we're too good, there's something wrong with us. And if we get angry, we're hysterical, irrational, or just being crazy. But a woman running a marathon was crazy.
Officials tried to pull her off the course.
A woman boxing was crazy. A woman dunking? Crazy. Coaching an NBA team? Crazy. A woman competing in a hijab, changing her sport, landing a double cork 1080, or winning 23 Grand Slams, having a baby, and then coming back for more? Crazy, 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 and crazy. So if they want to call you crazy, fine. Show them what crazy can do.
So on a lighter note, we are keen to see how our next speaker, Ms. Rupa Mahanty, would like us to be crazy. We welcome you, ma'am. If there were to be a woman brand ambassador for the steel city of Jamshedpur, to which I also belong, I cannot think of a better name today than Ms. Rupa Mahanty. She's a management consultant, an educator, and a philanthropist. She's a member of the Board of Governors of the Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta. She's an MBA from IIM Calcutta. After BSc Honours from Elphinstone College, Mumbai University, started her career in Tata Steel, where she worked in the areas of IT, career planning and strategy, and restructuring at the corporate level. After a decade and a half with Tata Steel, Ms. Rupa chose to follow a more independent career path. She taught business policy and strategy at the XLRI for a couple of terms before launching her own consultancy, RM Associates. Ms. Rupa served on the board of Timken India Limited as an independent director and is on the executive board of the Jamshedpur Management Association. After another decade and a half of successful consulting, she hung up her boots and concentrates her time and energy on philanthropic activities. She is presently the chairperson of the Rupa Mahanty Children's Opportunities Trust and the founder settler of the Rupa Mahanty Children's Educational Opportunities Trust. Rupa is a Reiki Grandmaster and healer recognized by the Indian Board of Alternative Medicines and works actively in healing through Reiki. She co-authored a critique on management, Back to Basics, is a licensed pilot and has flown in a rally in Australia. She is trained in accelerated freefall skydiving and enjoys adventure. Being a fitness enthusiast, she enjoys swimming and yoga. Her motto is take risks, not to escape life, but to prevent life from escaping. With all of this and still going, what makes you unstoppable, ma'am?
Rajpreet, thank you for the very generous and kind introduction. And let me at this point congratulate you, Amandeep, and the whole team for putting together this lovely opportunity. You know, when you were reading about my introduction, it reminded me when we started our career, and mine started 40 years ago this year. We didn't have anybody organizing a seminar or a platform where we could meet, where we could listen to anyone, where we could ask. So we learned, I think, by default to be what you call unstoppable. And actually, for me, I don't think everyone is unstoppable. It's just like Newton's laws in physics, you know, inertia and motivation. So it's a question of when you want to get somewhere, you overcome the inertia and keep going. You don't stop yourself. But on that journey and on that path, you are bound to come across bumps, hurdles, bends, and It's how you negotiate the bends that defines how fast you move. My fortune has been change. A change for me is another opportunity. So I believe a bend in the road is never the end of the road unless you fail to take the turn. Because there'll be odd turns that come, and I've experienced many, believe me. As you grow, as you get better, you will face people who encourage you. You also face a lot of jealousy. And you face a little, since it's a women's forum, don't believe that women versus women doesn't happen. That also happens. So how do you deal with that? You deal with it by taking it in your stride. And I personally feel if someone gives a little catty remark or something, for me it's a great compliment because God, thank you, you give me something somebody else wants. So jealousy, when you face, which is one of the big things in being stoppable, is admiration in war paint, my definition. So essentially what I'm saying is, believe in yourself, trust the universe, live deeply in Samarpan, and finally, whatever shakes you is a gift. What shakes you will end up shaping you.
Thank you so much.
Does that help you to figure out how not to stop?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, even when there is a pause in a woman's life, the undying spirit of unstoppable woman still continues.
Yes,
As a woman, what were some key
absolutely.
decision-making moments in your life, and how did you go about making those decisions?
You know, when you're small, your parents help you with your decisions. Right up to your choice of college, which also was my decision. My elder sisters went to college in Calcutta University, I went to Bombay University. But after college, I was determined. One decision I'm sure I made for myself was joining IMC. I was so determined that when I applied first year, I was underage. Being underage, I think it was confidence or arrogance, I'm still not sure. I said I'll wait. And in that gap year, I got into TIFR and an opportunity to study German. I studied German, so I was a little rusty from academia. I wrote my entrance exam. When I wrote that entrance exam, I remember it was at a center in Calcutta. All the participants said after the exam, "Oh God, it was horrible, terrible exam." And I had finished mine early. So they convinced me that I had botched it up and I was a total failure, and they convinced me I had failed. So I'll never forget the journey. I sat in the second class compartment of the Steel Express on a side seat, face stuck to the window, crying all the way back because I believed I'd failed, and that was a decision I'd made. To cut a long story short, later I discovered that I had actually stood 6th all India in that entrance exam. But the learning was that I was fool enough to believe the naysayers who stopped me believing in myself. The same thing happened when I wrote my entrance to join Tata City. I was a young mother and I knew all about baby food, and I was sure I wouldn't make that exam. Again, I did well, and I learned from then on that make a decision of what you enjoy. When you choose to do something and decide to do it, after that, forget the self-doubt. Believe in yourself. And I've carried that with me. The important thing is to look for the opportunity, make the choice, take the right decision, and after that, never look back.
Wow. So you spoke of both Samarpan and never look back. So that's amazing. If you had the opportunity of changing
Yes.
any of those decisions, which one would you change and why? Before you answer that question, I just wanted to mention that the video is kind of paused right now, so we
Okay.
are not able to really see you. So
Yes.
just wanted to and hear you clearly. So just wanted to mention,
Okay. Can you hear
not
me?
much, ma'am. We are just, ma'am, yeah, if you can maybe just turn
Can
off
you hear
your
me
video
now?
so that at least we can hear you clearly because we are not.
Okay, fine. Okay, no problem.
Yes,
Is
yes,
this
ma'am.
better?
Yes.
Are you getting a better bandwidth? Yes? Great. Okay. Excellent. I'm getting lots of loving conversations and comments coming in. Thanks, ladies, for the comments. I'm enjoying them and
Yes,
lapping them up.
and somebody has
Okay.
mentioned.
Rajpreet, coming back to what I
Sorry. So Vatsala has mentioned that is there anything you
Yeah,
cannot do? And I'll come to that. Ma'am will share about her adventures and her various, dimensions of her personality and her skills. And ma'am, please continue. So should I repeat the question?
No, I remember it. You're putting me into a dangerous zone because you're talking of dimensions and I'm thinking of dementia. Anyway, coming back to your question, what would I change if I had to change? And this is a big one. If I had to change, one decision I made which I would not have done is changing my name. Because, when we were newly married, both my husband and I were very excited about my becoming Mrs. Mahanty, Mr. and Mrs. Mahanty. We were all in the throes of love. And today, incidentally, he believes it's stronger than me that I should not have changed my name. Why? I think the signal is good. It's showing me green. Shall I go back on video?
We can try once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see me?
Yes, ma'am. We can see you.
So, okay, when the signal dims, I'll switch off. Why? Why about changing the name? First of all, when you change your name, it causes chaos. The first chaos I faced was on campus. IIM Calcutta had admitted a Mukherjee and was about to exit a Mahanty. So you can imagine the piles of paperwork that went through it. And the paperwork continued in life. But more than that, as I grew in life, I realized a lot of people were very confused about my ethnicity, my childhood, my language, where I came from. And it got me thinking, what was the need to drop your parental name? It was just blindly following a convention. I fully appreciate the convention. There was a role of nurturing and providing in the old days. I realized that. But times have changed. We are both nurturers and providers, and we don't need that to define us. I'm going off. In fact, I was inspired by a lovely interview I saw. The Scandinavians are meant to be amongst the most happy and evolved societies. So this was an interview where a British woman was interviewing a Scandinavian man about names because his name was hyphenated, his wife's name and his name. And he said, in Scandinavia, we make a choice. There are times the man takes the woman's name. If she's from a better known family, it gives a break to the children. And the British woman then asked, but does that not make the man subservient to the woman? To which the man replied, very purposefully, quietly, in our country, marriage is not a power game. Marriage is an equal partnership. And that was really inspirational for me. I think there's something about honoring our roots and enabling that to continue. I don't know how we're doing for time, but that is one thing I would have changed.
Wow. I mean, it's very interesting and so much subtle and there in the society, it's so ingrained. Luckily for me, I continued as Rajpreet Kaur before and after marriage. But it's a very interesting observation.
Yes.
And thanks for bringing it to this forum. Ma'am, what role does adventure play in one's life? Would you like to share some examples and the learnings that you got from that part?
Yeah. So many wonderful learnings. So many wonderful learnings. You showed that crazy video, right? I was so happy that I had this adventurous streak. As a child, I had this wild dream of becoming an astronaut, which I failed in anyway. In college, I used to trek in the Western Ghats. And sometimes just one or two girls, sometimes I was the only girl in the group. And it was wonderful, so much you learn about trust, camaraderie, depending on each other, being out with nature. I found that adventure has actually kept a lot of balance and a sense of being alive, you know. Then later on, and the teenage years was half a century ago. About a quarter of a century ago, my husband and I, who are both pilots, had the opportunity of flying an adventure rally in Australia, where we were the only Asian couple to participate, and we flew deep into the outback in a Cessna 172. And when I went there, the Australian organizers were very shocked, delighted, and relieved, as they said, to find an Indian woman pilot who they thought was normal. Till today, Rajpreet, I don't know what they expected, but it was a nice kind of feeling to be an ambassador of Indian women, that we can reach the skies as well. And that sense of going into the unknown was wonderful to help me overcome fear. Because any kind of adventure, you know, it's like I've loved adventure. As for our 25th wedding anniversary, I was sorely, when my husband said, "What do you want?" He may have expected that I wanted a solitaire or something boring like that. I said I wanted a motorcycle with a leather helmet, a leather jacket, and a black helmet to match. Well, he didn't agree to that. So I settled for accelerated free fall and skydiving. That was the anniversary present. And the fun of adventure was it teaches you not to be afraid. It teaches you to trust yourself, to believe in yourself, and it gives you another break. Otherwise, you know, life can become mundane and routine. So for me, I would much rather focus a little on adventure than maybe social life. You make a little sacrifices, and that's why I believe take risks, not to escape life, but to prevent life from escaping.
Wow. So getting inspiration more and more, because the entrepreneurship journey also for me right now, it's full of getting into the unprotected. And I can tell you, so many women, you know, they need to get that basically, including me, that we need to overcome those fears. So that was amazing. So, ma'am, just moving to another section of
Yes.
questions. We are undergoing yet another wave of transformation with digital
Yes.
technologies. So the future skills look very different. In your career spanning so many, have and are expected to stay the same, in which women have an edge.
You know, forgive me for sounding a bit arrogant, but I think women do have quite an edge. Okay. Uh, in terms of technology, yes. Sometimes I've also found women hide behind the thing that you need a guy to come and help you with technology. But the days of brawn have gone. You know, I mean, especially in an era where artificial intelligence is coming in. I mean, even in robotics, artificial intelligence, sciences, you really don't need to have the physical brawn that needed it. But let me tell you a story. When you talk of skills, it was a technical skill of sorts. You know, when I joined Tata Steel, now Tata Steel in 1981 was a very male dominated environment, manufacturing, all male, and the women were very few and far between, mostly in the areas of secretarial or data entry. So I was very keen to be accepted. Being accepted was very important as a newcomer. And an opportunity came in my lap to do with skills. One fine day, our big boss, the division manager, asked, "Anybody here who has an LMV license?" That is a license that enables you to drive a pickup truck. You know, we had the, and you see, we were at the time, I see Vatsala in the audience. She was also from my IT, we shared an IT background. We had to convert, we were moving from second generation computer to fourth generation. We had to convert all our data from 7-track to 9-track. And in that data conversion, we had to carry these tapes to Tata Motors far away. And as it turned out, when I volunteered, I was the only person competent in the whole department of 200 people with this license to carry a pickup truck. You can imagine that helped me break the ice immediately. I had my guy colleagues who queued up to accompany me because this was a two-man job, a chance to escape mundane office for half an hour, half a day. You go there, you get tea and snacks, you get the what was like a little mini truck. Now, and people were surprised that a woman would do that. But it was a skill, any skill comes in handy. I mean, if you look at skills, look at the skills that women have and the gifts. I think one of the biggest gifts for a woman is we are very right brain gifted. So any skill that we pick up, you pick up an additional perspective. That is a skill that God has given a woman, that she's able to parallel process, think in technology also, and grasp better because her imagination is wider. Right brain is, the neuron flow is faster. The second skill is a skill gifted to us, I believe, by patriarchy. And this, I can see you raising your eyebrows. You see, we live in a very male world. And the male psyche or the mindset, if I may, is usually they don't like to be told. Women are conditioned, we are so used to being told and so used to listening, so used to not being afraid of making mistakes, that we don't have to show that we are right first time. So by virtue of that, we focus, we concentrate with the left and right brain, and we are far better learners, and we are far more meticulous in because technology today calls for a lot of operational discipline. You know, a technical example from aviation. I was once talking to an air traffic controller, and he told me the story. He said, you know, it's much easier for us when we are controlling a flight led by a woman captain, because when you, for example, give her an instruction on airspeed and heading, it is more likely that a woman captain will follow the protocol to the T. Whereas, I'm not saying women captains are not safe, but certainly women captains are very safe. They don't make adventurous decisions without communicating and taking permission back from ATC. So I certainly believe that one, we need to stay up to date with our technology, and it's not a big deal for a woman. With her left and right brain and no need for brawn, the sky's the limit.
Sure, ma'am. So we've
Just the
always
feeling that I
heard
can do
that you can take a man or woman out of Tata Steel, but you can't take Tata Steel out of a man and woman. That's the Iron Lady, Miss Rupa Mahanty, for us. Ma'am, we just have time for one question,
Yes.
and I'll just ask that question, which is posted by Miss Aishwarya Kar. As a woman, lady of the
Yes.
house, you must have
Yes.
faced times when you are puzzled up which and how to give importance to their either personal or professional life. How did you deal with us? Could you guide us on this, please? The
Yes.
work-life balance. Yeah.
Aishwarya, thank you for that question. Work-life balance is a few sessions all rolled in one. But to tell you honestly, I think, again, I think a woman can manage much more than she expects to. But yes, there's a lot of hard work, because in the beginning, especially when you're young in your career, nobody expects you to focus, that you have to focus on your career to be better than the guys, to be expected to be as equal. So for my part, I did manage by creating more hours in the day initially, by waking up earlier, seeing to it that my home was all done before I left work. When my little girl was small, I used to wake up at 5, drop her to school at 7:30, and be at office at 7:30. The office started at 9. Because when the guys could stay on till 7:30 in the evening, I used to leave at 6. But I didn't want to fall behind at work. So it's a lot of hard work. And now, in these days, I think you need to value yourself by enabling and encouraging your partner to share. You are both nurturers, both providers. You have the confidence to do that. And I think most husbands, today's husbands do. My husband, I'm proud to say, participates. We share the workload even as a retired couple, and we both enjoy it. In fact, sometimes when I interrupt him, he says, "Do you think I'm not capable of doing it?" So I think it's a question of mutual respect and respecting yourself and choosing.
Ma'am, thank you. We'll just take one more question um, from Shraddha Mahadev Chulu from MAT College of Management, Institute of Management.
Yes.
I would like to hear one of your biggest failures. What lessons did you learn?
So many failures. What do I choose? Okay, now I'm not being frivolous. I'm not being frivolous. You know, when I quit Tata Steel, I did that at the age of 40, just before I was 40. And I really thought I'd hang up my boots and become a lady of leisure. I'm afraid I failed miserably in that. I was hoping that, I mean, I used to sometimes see my friends and envy them, you know, that I was hoping that I'd be part of kitty groups and ladies' lunches and go and have I still don't have manicured fingers. Nobody called me for any. I only got job offers. And before I knew what was happening, I moved. I was teaching at XLRI. Before I knew what was happening, consultancy was born. So I did fail in being a lady of leisure, and that is something that is and I remember this promotion where I think there was some politics involved, where I was bypassed. And my boss told me, "Oh, I forgot about you." And I went home and I cried and I howled. And then I told myself, when you lose on the swing, you get on the roundabouts. 6 months later, there was an opportunity. I thought I had failed. There was an advert for an internal department, which took me 2 grades above what I would have been. If I had not failed, I would not have ever applied. So every time you're shaken up, it shapes you up.
Wow, ma'am, that's lessons.
I hope that answers the young lady.
Yeah, she's thanking you, ma'am. And thanks for sharing it so candidly. Lots to learn. And ma'am, I wish we could go on and on, but we are bound by time today. And
Yes, of
I would
course.
request to hear more from you in our future sessions of podcasts and series. And for now, I'll
Okay.
take the opportunity to thank you on behalf of Say Cheese and the entire women fraternity present here. Thank you so much. And we'll keep in touch soon. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all the best. And to all the audience, go girls, never say die.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank